Okay. Well, hello everybody. So yesterday I tried making a video on I was sort of in a good mood. I figured let me make a little improv video and I decided to you know, I was going to make a little improv video where I just sort of just read some news and see what's going on in the world and I can sort of comment on it, have some fun. And then I started reading some of the news stories, and after I got to like a few of them, I turned it off. Um, Now, why did I turn it off? I mean, these things happened. Should I just ignore them and pretend that these news stories didn't happen and live in my own little fairy tale world? Well, maybe not. But there comes a point in time where you don't want to open the news every day and all the headlines are shootings and killings and right? Um so what do? You know, one of the big topics in today's society is gun control, right? What do we do about the guns? Well, of course everyone's talking about gun control and what do we do about guns? Because people keep killing each other, right? So of course we're going to want to talk about gun control. So what the hell is going on? Could you outlaw all the guns? Sure, we can outlaw all the guns. Will it probably result in maybe like, I don't know, a few less deaths? Probably, but is it going to fix anything? Of course not. What are we dealing with here? We're dealing with unhappy people. Why are people unhappy? Well, look at our society. We don't have a gun problem. What we have is a happiness problem. Human beings, most human beings they live miserable lives. And somehow we think like a gun, whether one way or the other, is gonna fix our, utopia of a society. People live miserable lives, whether they're extremely poor, whether they have, and you wonder, oh, well, maybe some of it is mental issues, health issues. Well, of course people have mental and health issues. We live in an insane society. So you're surprised that people have mental issues when we live in an insane society, right? And you probably wonder, Tony, come on, why are you such a downer? Why would you call our society insane? It's a beautiful society. Yeah, of course it has beautiful parts, but generally speaking, it's an insane society. So of course it's going to breed insane people that want to shoot people, right? Now you wonder why is it such an insane society, Tony? What, can you create a better one? Well, look at our society. Our whole society is based on what? It's all inequality. You know? What do you think there's any chance of a healthy society when like most people are just dirt poor and then you have a few that are just billionaires and trillionaires that control everything? How on earth would that not create insane people that want to go shooting? So yeah, so you think that maybe somebody is just born with a mental issue. Sure, that could happen. But a lot of people probably also develop mental issues just from our society, the life that we have. Go talk to the regular person who's just trying to get by in life. What do? What does their life consist of? They wake up every morning, they go to a job they don't like, and at the end of the month, 95% of their paycheck goes to pay their rent because of the insane rent prices, and then they have a little bit of money left over for some food and whatever else. And then what do they do next month? They just repeat the whole process again. Just that alone could drive anybody insane. Just that alone, not to mention a million other things, right? So what problem do we have in society? Well, we have an insane society. It's not healthy in any way. What do we promote in society? Success, wealth, profit, gains. It's all just cold, heartless things. And that also makes people feel worthless. What if all we ever show is like success and like attaining things, and then you have people who barely have anything? How do you think they're going to feel? Of course they're going to feel like crap about themselves. That could drive somebody crazy. There's a million things in our society that's going to drive people crazy. Now you might think, oh, well, that, yeah, it might drive them, it might, might make them a bit sad or whatever, but it's just like, that's not going to drive them to kill somebody. What do you know what it's going to drive them to do? Unless you've been in that situation. The human mind is a very delicate thing. Our psychological, just our whole existence is a very delicate thing. Our state of mind, everything about us is very delicate. And if it's not nurtured properly and given a good environment to thrive in, it destroys your whole mentality to keep going. So we keep having these debates about gun control. Meanwhile, when are we going to fix our society? Like, our society is a goddamn mess. I'm surprised there's not more killings and shootings. In fact, every day I'm always surprised that people on the streets are not just rolling around on the ground, just like delirious. I'm actually shocked every day when I go outside, when I just see people peacefully walking around and just living their life. That blows my mind. It blows my mind. I'm surprised there's not more people just deliriously rolling around on the ground outside, just screaming. Because we live in an insane society. And you might think, well, that's a very pessimistic way to see society. Today, it's never been a better time to live than today. This is the best time to live. Yeah, it's a beautiful time to live. For some, but for most, they're just struggling. For most people, their life basically just consists of going to a job they don't like and surviving, getting enough money to last them through the next week to the next month. That's people's lives. Does that seem like a joyous life? We also have this mentality, just have a positive attitude. Come on, just like, have a positive attitude? What do you tell someone to have a positive attitude who feels like they're basically a slave? All they do is basically just work so they can have enough food, and then have a shelter, and that's it. That's their whole life. Because they can't do much more than that. Not to mention, if they have one little accident, one little emergency, most people are like a few $100s away from not even being able to pay their rent. But have a positive attitude. That'll get you by. Just, like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and just smile, because with a positive attitude, we can get things done. Hope and change. All this stuff we've been hearing. Where's the hope and change for most people? Where is it coming from? It's easy to look down on people. It's like we have this sort of way of like looking at things where it's like, you read a news story and then you hear, a man went and robbed a liquor store, and man did, and then you just think to yourself, oh God, look at that degenerate. I can't believe like he's wasting his life away robbing liquor stores and 7-Elevens. Yeah, because that's exactly what somebody wants to do. They're so bored with their life, they wake up one day and think, yeah, you know what? My life is pretty boring. Let me just start robbing liquor stores. Clearly, this person's desperate to try to survive, to try to figure something out. That's what most people are. They're just desperate to try to keep surviving. Some people are robbing liquor stores. Some people are just going to their mundane, soul-sucking job every day just so they can survive. And you're supposed to tell them, just have a positive attitude. Things will get better. Or, you always hear that story of like some guys like, oh, come on, you just have to try harder. I was there, I was dirt poor. You hear those 1 in a million stories where some person's like really dirt poor and I pulled myself out of it, so can you. No, not everybody can do that. It doesn't magically work that way. Things are incredibly hard for most people in today's society because we have such an inequality in our society. Everything is just up and down. There's no balance to it. It's just madness. It's insanity. So of course that insanity is going to breed craziness. Now, some sort of craziness and wackiness is going to exist at any level, most likely, but not to the amount that we have now. So that's all we're dealing with, right? We're dealing with an insane society. The whole way we structure our societies is just insane. And how do you know it's insane? Look at the results. Most people are just poor, just barely trying to survive, and then you have like a select few that are billionaires and trillionaires. What the hell kind of society is that? And we're surprised at all the madness we read in the news every day. That's supposed to be a shock. Oh my God, there was a shooting. Really? There was a shooting? What do you expect? What on earth would you expect? Of course, there's going to be shootings and the crazy society we have. So we can keep talking about gun control all we want and all that. But when on earth are we going to finally have a more balanced society where we don't have this insane inequality? This is what happens when most people are really poor and they feel like slaves, like they're just working every day just to survive to the next day. This is what happens. People get desperate in those situations and they will do things. At the end of the day, people do whatever they need to do to survive. Whether it's just stick it out in a job they hate that kills their spirit and their soul, but they feel like they have no other way out. Or if somebody says, screw that, I'll just go rob and kill for some money. I'm going to do whatever I have to do. And you think, well, yeah, how about that? How does that work with a kid who doesn't even have a job? He's just like a teenager, and he decides he wants to shoot somebody, or he's kind of crazy. Well, you have to understand the chain reaction of all these events. We live in a cold sort of everything we do is based. You have to say people get their worth from succeeding and profiting and moving up the ladder. So you have this sweet kid and you think that, his parents are shocked. They're like, oh, we gave him everything he needed, because, the parents, they had good jobs. They went to university and one of them was maybe a doctor, one of them, whatever their jobs were, both the husband and the wife, they had really great jobs, and they were like go-getters. So they kept moving up the scheme, and then they kept getting promotions. But like a lot of the times they would send their kid a text and say, oh, son, we're not going to be home for dinner because we're working late tonight. I left $40 on a kitchen counter. Order yourself some food. Yeah. Because see, they're great parents because they're providing a lot. They make good money and they live in a nice house and they give that kid everything he needs, except they're working late tonight. So the kid orders some pizza and he sits alone in his room and just kind of sits there. But they're giving the kid everything he needs because they worked really hard their whole life to have good jobs and give that kid everything he needs. Except they're not there. They're working late that night. So that kid maybe develops some issues and feels kind of alone. And then like the parents cry after the kid goes on a shooting. We don't know what happened to him. He must have had some sort of mental illness because we gave him everything a kid could need. We always supplied him with clothes for school, so he has nice clothes. We got him like a car for his 16th birthday. He was never lacking anything except you're working late every night. That's the problem, right? And then on the other hand, you have two sweet, loving parents who love their kids so much and they give them attention, except that they don't have a lot of money. And unlike the other parents, they weren't very educated and they didn't get good jobs. So they have very minimum wage kind of jobs, but they work hard and they love their kids. But it's tough. It's really tough for them and they struggle. And sometimes they can't buy their kid brand new shoes. And sometimes that kid gets made fun of at school because he doesn't have all the nice clothes that the other kids have. And then he gets really made fun of and they laugh at him because their parents are poor and they live in a crappy housing community. Maybe that kid will develop some issues. Right? Because the educated, successful parents, they buy into that whole, we got to achieve goals and we got to profit and make money. So they thrive on that because they feel they're doing a good job because they're supplying their kids everything they need. Except they're not there during the evening because they're working late, right? And then the other parents are trying the best they can, the ones that are more poor, but they can't give that kid all the nice little things that the other kids have. And he gets made fun of a bit. He lives in the poor area of town and look at that. It's all in this society we build, right? You got one group of people who thrive and succeed and think they're doing great because they're moving up the ladder and they keep getting promotions, except they're not there on the evenings with their kids. And then you have the other parents who are just struggling to get by like most people. And then we're so shocked. It's a shame. Look at all these tragedies happening around. What are we really surprised by? Maybe that's why I don't want to read the news and I don't read it, because I know what I'm going to hear there. Right? What else would I hear in the news when we live in such an insane society that's just built on inequality, just ups and downs? Of course, if I read the news, I'm just going to read nothing but crazy stories. Of course. So what am I going on about here? Right? Big picture, right? Big picture, that's what this is all about. So we keep getting surprised. What do we do about all these killings and all these tragedies? What do we do? We got to change our society around. We got to create a society that's built on community and love and not pointless things that mean nothing, like how much we attain, and because that gives people so many issues. Because if you're not constantly achieving and attaining and setting, we feel like crap about ourselves. Not to mention all the inequality I mentioned that breeds even more insanity, because people get desperate and they need to survive. And then you have kids at school who they're so we can talk about this and be really intellectual, but until we build a more balanced, healthy society, this is just going to keep on going. Right? The only thing we can do is evolve past this sort of cold-hearted, materialistic way of living life where we just value people on what they do. That's what you ask when you meet somebody, right? Oh, I know this guy Jeff I work with. Oh, what does Jeff do? Oh, yeah, what does Jeff do? That's the first thing we want to know about somebody. What do you do? What do you mean, what do I do? Why don't you want to know more, like, what kind of person is Jeff? Is he an honorable person? Is he a good person? Would he help you if you needed something? No, but the first thing we want to know is, what does he do? We define people by what they do. Like somehow if someone's a plumber, that's what they are. They're a plumber. That's what he does. That person's not a plumber. That person's not an architect. That person's a human being, and he has like certain qualities and characters. That's what we need to value in people. Their quality, their character, not what they do. And these things are just instilled in our brains. Because that's how we learn to judge people. Oh yeah, what does he do? Oh yeah, what's he doing? Yeah, is he doing good? Yeah. That's how we look at people. We base people on what they've achieved. Our whole society's out of whack. So of course we're going to read the news and see nothing but insane stories. What else would you expect to see? So for this to change, we need to completely reevaluate our whole existence here on earth. That's it. This is always the answer to everything. We need to evolve past to the next stage. And until we evolve to the next stage, where our existence and the way we build these societies are more about community and love and support, then we're going to keep having these insane news stories all day long, because an insane society is obviously an insane, unbalanced society is always going to breed that. So of course that's what we're going to see in the news, because that's what that kind of society is going to breed. So when are we going to finally see the change? We need to evolve to that next stage. That's it. I would love to say that it's as easy as just throwing away the guns and all of a sudden we're like in a utopia. It doesn't work that way. We need to completely reevaluate what's important in life, and how to build a healthy society. And that's it. I mean, I would love to be able to read the news and not see insanity every day in the news, but that's the society we have, and that's what's gonna be on the news. So maybe the first step we can do is when we meet new people and we start forming new relationships. How about we talk to people like they're human beings, not what they do. Oh, I'm a plumber. Oh, he's a doctor. How about he's a person? Or what does he do? How about we just stop that? How about we just do something simple, and instead of like meeting new people and judging them on who they are and what they do, like what do they do? What's their title? How about we just get to know them and see what kind of person they are? That way we can motivate each other to not thrive and succeed in our title and whatever you are. Did you get the latest promotion? How about we just motivate each other to constantly become better people, more loving and more forgiving and more aware of our surroundings, so it's not just about us and our achievements. So next time you see somebody and they're like, you know what I do? How about just say, that's great, I'm glad that you have a really great job and that's fancy and you earn a lot, but that's not, it's irrelevant. Tell me about yourself, what kind of person you are. That way they can kind of see, oh, okay, so they're not as easily impressed by my title. Maybe they actually want to know if I'm a decent human being. How about that? We just start with something simple like that. We start valuing people on who they are and their character, not their title and what fancy thing they do. One step at a time, and then maybe once we value each other more and try to support each other more. Because, we have this me against the world attitude. It's not me against the world. The more we have this me against the world, the more we just fight and compete with each other. It's us. We're all in this crazy game together. Let's love each other and support each other. And hopefully sometime soon we snap out of that mentality and we learn to love and grow and have a more community-based life. And then that will balance everything out. So let's just hope for that. And the last word, look at a human being when you look at them in the eye and forget their title, their job, and just find out what kind of human being they are and value them on that and nothing else. And that's it. I'll just leave it at that. I'm sorry if this seemed like sort of like an aggressive, sort of like downer of a video, but I had to share my thoughts on it because this video was sort of inspired by the fact that yesterday reading all those news stories, and which is ironic because it was inspired by that, and also it was inspired by something else. Someone asked me the other day, what do I think about the issue of gun control, because of everything they've been reading on the news. And so this is my 2 cents on this whole topic, and that's it. I'll just leave it at that. And my hope for us all is that we start valuing each other as human beings and forgetting everything else. Look someone in the eye and just appreciate who they are as a human being, and don't be impressed by their fancy achievements and goals. That's it. And so I hope you guys are having a good day, and I'll leave it at that, and take care of each other. Bye.